Hey everybody, and welcome back to the board meeting. Today we're going to be doing a recap of my April, being which games I played during April. I also did review 9 other games, and then I reviewed 3 expansions. I'm not going to be talking about them in this particular video, so if you want to hear about those games, you can go check out my previous reviews videos. This is just going to be the other games that I played that I've reviewed previously, and I don't want to review them again, but we're just going to recap which games I played this month, or last month, I should say, in April. First, we'll start with Marvel Champions, the card game. This is, my game that I've played more than any other game out there. I have definitely slowed down on it a lot, though. It's because there's so much stuff for it that it almost becomes intimidating to break out this game. I've got 2 massive boxes full of stuff. I have everything for Marvel Champions, and I tend to only play it now when new stuff comes out. And right now I'm playing through the Age of Apocalypse campaign expansion, which is the 7th campaign expansion for Marvel Champions. I'll review that later, but I did play, Marvel Champions quite a bit. I've played it 5 times this last week, trying to make it through that campaign. But it's a fun game. I love the puzzliness of Marvel Champions, using these multi-use cards, using this card to use it as a resource to pay for this card. There is fun decisions every single turn. The puzzliness of the game is just one that really intrigues me over the years. I've definitely slowed down on it a lot, like I said, but it's still a great game. So next one is The Thing, Infection at Outpost 31, which is a social deduction game with a board. You're going to be moving around this board. This is based on The Thing, the movie, where one of the players is infected with the Thing. He's the Thing. And you're going to be moving around the board, and you have to accomplish missions, and you're bringing certain people along. It's very much plays like a bunch of other social deduction games, except this one actually has a board, which makes it a little bit more unique. But, you're trying to figure out who the bad guys are. And later in the rounds, more people could potentially get infected. So there's multiple things. And you're just trying to figure out who's the bad guys, who's the good guys, basically. So yeah, that's The Thing, Infection at Outpost 31. Going to the next game. The next game is a small little auction game. This is High Society. This is a little card game where everybody has so much money in their hands, and you're just bidding on these pieces that are worth a certain amount of points in the game. And at the end of the game, whoever has spent the most money automatically loses. And then after that, whoever's got the most points after that wins the game. It's one that just continues to come to the table. It's an older game. It works really well. It's really simple. Yeah, High Society. Our next one is 6 Nimmt / Take 5, whichever. I've got the 6 Nimmt version, which is just the German version. I believe it's German. And it's just a little card game where you're placing out it's a deck of cards, all numbered, and you're just putting down these cards, and whatever number you place down, everybody's placing them down simultaneously. You have to put it into the row that is closest to your particular number without going below it. And if you ever put down the 5th card in a row, you have to take all the cards that are in there previously, and you're going to score all those points. You don't want points. It's a fun game. It's chaotic. You have to kind of get lucky in this game. It's not really much of a strategy game. It's just fun chaos, especially at high player counts. So that's 6 Nimmt. Going to the next one. The next one is also a social deduction game. This is Secret Hitler, one of the most popular social deduction games out there, where you got one team that is Hitler and the fascists, and then the other people are the liberals. The liberals are trying to figure out who the fascists are and sort of pass their liberal agenda, where the fascists are trying to pass their fascist agendas. And we've played this game 100 times over the years. It's one that's, good if you've got lots of player counts. I'm not really a big social deduction person, but social deduction games tend to get broken out a lot when we have higher player counts. And these last couple of weeks, we've had 9 or 10 people in our group, so we've broken out these social deduction games because it just works for those higher player counts. So yeah, that's Secret Hitler. Going to the next one. The next one is one of the classic cooperative games. This is Pandemic. This is I played this a ton this last couple weeks because, one, I was trying to play through all of the expansions and stuff, and two, next, in a couple days here, I'm going to be hosting this teen night at our local library, and I'm teaching these teens some games. Pandemic is this game for this particular week. So we were just playing this to try and get like the rules 100% down, even though I've played it a lot over the years. I was just replaying it, just tried to get it 100%. And so yeah, we've been playing Pandemic a lot this last month. Next game is Cascadia. Cascadia was one of those really, really popular tile-laying games from a couple years ago. It's still really, really good. I like it every time I play it. You are simply drafting some of these tiles that have an animal on them. You put that tile somewhere on your little area, trying to match the terrain type, trying to get large clusters of the same terrain type, and then you're putting animals on these different terrain types. And you want the animals in certain positions because all the animals are scoring differently. There's not much going on in this game, but the small rule set that there's a lot of depth to your choices of what you're doing, which tiles you're going to be taking, how these animals are scoring. So there's not much rules, but there's a lot of gameplay here. I feel like there's a lot of depth in Cascadia. Next, we have another social deduction game, and I believe it's our last social deduction game, so don't worry. This is Don't Mess with Cthulhu. And this is simply, some people are cultists, some people are, I guess they're investigators, and, you're trying to figure out who the cultists are. I don't really want to spend too much more time, but it's a really, really fast social deduction game. It might be my favorite social deduction game because it's so fast. But yeah, that is Don't Mess with Cthulhu. Going to the next one. The next one is Disney Lorcana. I've been playing Disney Lorcana a lot with my girlfriend. We play that. We haven't messed with deck building in this game at all. I haven't messed with buying cards like off the marketplace. I'm buying the starter decks, and that is it. And that's pretty much my way to play CCGs now. I don't want to invest money into these other than like getting some starter decks and playing with those. And it's been really fun to play this with my girlfriend. This is her first adventure into CCGs, so it's been interesting watching her play this game. So Disney Lorcana. Next, we have another CCG that I also played with her. Is Star Wars Unlimited. This is basically the Star Wars version of Lorcana. I would say there's a little bit more going on in Unlimited than there is in Lorcana. I enjoy Star Wars Unlimited a little bit more, but I also enjoy the IP Star Wars more than the Disney IP. And I've really liked Star Wars Unlimited. But again, I only bought the 2-player starter decks, so I can't say much outside of that. I'm excited for this game, but again, I'm not going to go out and buy a bunch of cards and collect cards and get into that way. So I'm just going to stick with the starter decks. Next game is Spacebase. I've played this like 4 times in the last month and a half or something like that, which is kind of unusual for an older game. It's not super old, but we've played it a lot. It's very, really, really fun. I love that there's so much to do on other people's turns. You are more excited about other people rolling the dice than a lot of times you are when you're rolling your own dice, because towards the end of the game, when you have all this extra stuff on top, and you're getting so much stuff on other people's turns, you're like, you're kind of bummed out when it comes around and it's your turn. You're like, no, I just want them to go one more time, and then for me to go. I love Spacebase. It's been a consistent game that comes to the table a lot for myself. So yeah, Spacebase. Going to the next one. The next one is a game that I will probably play every single month for the rest of the time, hopefully. This is Kocol. It's a simple flicking game. It's very abstract looking. It looks very elegant. You're simply flicking discs on this board, and you have to hit the opponent's discs, and you're trying to make them land in the center of the Kocol board to get more points for the end of the round. Great game. Fantastic. Kocol. Next one, we have Dune Imperium, an extremely popular game. I got that right there. I'm actually debating getting rid of my Dune Imperium. And I love Dune Imperium. But the fact is, I haven't played my own copy of Dune Imperium in probably 2 years, because all of my friends have it. So I'm like, what's the point of me having it if everybody else has it? I'm not bringing it to game night because everybody else is bringing their own to game night. And even as much as I like it, I probably like it the least amount in my game group, which is crazy because I think it landed in my top 30 games of all time. There's like 3 or 4 people in my game group that is their game, their number one game of all time. It's a worker placement game that's got area control, area majority, trying to battle at the end of the game. There is a deck building. There's a lot of deck building in that game. It's almost a perfection of 3 mechanisms in the game they've just intertwined those mechanisms so flawlessly to me in that game. It's one that will continue coming to the table pretty regularly. Next one we have is a game that I reviewed last month. This is a small little card game, Nar. And in this game, you're basically building 2 engines. On your turn, you can either take or build part of this engine and activate it and get a bunch of stuff, or you can add to your other engine. And how you add to the other engine is taking the cards from this other engine. So you have to spend this engine in order to build up this engine. This engine's a little bit more powerful. You're going to get a little bit more things from it. But it's a fun thing. I love how they've done this game. You have a lot of good choices in the game of what you're going to do when you want to start dismantling this engine to build up this engine. Either way, it's great. I love it a lot. I've been playing it. I think I've played it like 15 times already, or almost 15 times. So yeah, that is Nar. Going to the next one. The next one is a auction game. It possibly could be my favorite auction game now of all time. I've played it a lot in the last probably 4 or 5 months, and I'd never played it before then. This is Raw. This is a Reiner Knizia game. You're simply, pulling out tiles and auctioning them off, bidding them off in the game. It's very fast. It's very simple auctions, but I love it. I would play this game anytime. This one, for a game that I've never played before and I put off, I had it on my shelf of shame for quite a while before I finally played it. And it definitely hasn't disappointed. I'm disappointed myself that it took me so long to play that game. So that's Raw. Going to the next one is Galactic Renaissance, which is the second game in the Inish trilogy that they're making. My friend got the Kickstarter version of this. I reviewed it last month. I played it again this month. It's great. If you like Inish, there's a good chance you'll like it. Well, I say that, and then when we played it last time, some of the people who like Inish got to play this for the first time, and they're like, I don't like this one. I personally really like this one. I like it more. There's like less combat, and it's more political stuff going on rather than the combat, because I didn't really like the combat in Inish. This one kind of takes that away, and I like it a lot. So yeah, Galactic Renaissance. Going to the next one. The next one is a small card game that continues coming to the table. It was extremely, extremely popular. It blew people away when it first came out. This is Point Salad. This is one of the simplest games out there, but it's one that continues to come to the table years and years later after it came out. And it's just a bunch of vegetable cards or scoring cards. On your turn, you can take either 2 vegetable cards or you can take 1 of the scoring cards. And that's it. And the scoring cards is like, all your tomatoes now are worth 3 points, but this type of vegetable is worth -1. And at the end of the game, you count up all your points from your scoring cards. Great game. So Point Salad. Going to the next one, it is Super Mega Lucky Box. This is a roll and write game that was extremely, extremely popular when it first came out. And not one that I particularly enjoy that much. But I was kind of like surprised when I first played it, because I was like, oh, my friend had Super Mega Lucky Box. I was like, oh, we should play that because, so many people have said so many good things about it. And then I played it, and I'm like, oh, yeah, it's a game. I mean, I don't hate it, but it's simply a roll and write game where you mark off one box, and that might let you mark off another box, which might let you mark off another box. I feel like I've played that game like 30 times in 30 different games. I'm not sure why this particular one took off compared to the other ones. But I was like, okay, it's very, very simple, very family friendly. That's Super Mega Lucky Box. Next one is an older game. This is Around the World in 80 Days. This is a game where you're trying to move around the world in the fastest way possible. You're spending in the least amount of time, basically. and you're going to be spending cards. You're going to be drafting certain cards, and each card is going to give you certain special ability depending on where that card is located at. And it's an older game, but I've enjoyed it. I've played it twice now over the years. My friends got the game. Maybe we've played it 3 times now. And I've liked it, especially for an older game. I think it's a pretty adequate game, but it is kind of a luck-based game, but it's fun, it's fast, simple. It's around the world in 80 days. Next one we have is Marvel Flux. I am a fan of Flux, I'll say that. And this is just the Marvel version of Flux. In Flux, there is no win condition to start the game, but as you play out cards, some people are going to put out win conditions, and the win conditions are really simple. Like, you have to have these three people in front of you, and if you do, you win the game. And you just go, and it's usually like a 5-minute game, especially if you're playing 2-player, this is one of those games that I pretty much mainly play 2-player, and I play it with my girlfriend. We've had a great time playing Flux. I would say this is probably my second favorite Flux behind the Doctor Who Flux. So, for Flux, you get an IP that you like and you buy that one, because there is probably like 40 different versions of Flux, maybe 50 different versions of Flux out there. So find an IP you like, it might have that version of Flux. Going to our next one. Our next game is Radlands. Radlands is a card game, but it feels like there's so much going on, so much to think about, that it feels like a board game, if that makes sense. You are putting out these cards, these people out, and you're putting them in front of your bases. Your objective is to destroy the other person's base. And each round you get 3 resources. Three resources you can spend. You get water, and that you get 3 water each round, and you can spend that water to put out these people that have different special abilities, or you can use water to activate certain people and use their special abilities. Or there's a couple different things. The cards are also multi-use. This is one of my all-time favorite 2-player games. I love the artwork. I love the theme, the post-apocalyptic theme. The artwork is amazing. It's fantastic. It's really colorful. I love Radlands. There's no complaints for me about anything in Radlands. It's short enough. It's fast. It is thinky. There you go, multi-use cards. It's a great game. So yeah, Radlands. Going to our next one, we got 2 more games left. We have Fury of Dracula. This is a hidden movement game where one player plays as Dracula and all the other players are playing as, I guess they are vampire hunters, I suppose, moving around the board trying to find Dracula. I've played this game a lot over the years, and it's not one that I particularly like. The first time I played this game, I liked it a lot, but it has slowly, or probably quickly, diminished over the years, because I think it's a really long game for how much action there actually is in this game. Because you might play for like an hour and a half, and then finally, oh, we found traces of Dracula. Oh, and then like a half an hour later, oh, we found Dracula, we got to fight. And you fight for like a couple of minutes, and then he might escape, and then he's gone, and then you're trying to find him again. So for how long this game takes, there's not a lot of action. I wish there was more action, more condensed into it. I like when there is action in this game, but most of the game is just trying to like do guesswork. Like, well, I guess we'll go over here, see if he's been here before. If not, whatever. So yeah, that is Fury of Dracula. Going to our next game, it is our last game we're talking about today. It is a small little card game. This is Sea Salt and Paper, and I just got the expansion. Actually, one of my friends bought the expansion for it, which was like $2. It added like 10 more cards and a little bit more variety for the game. So you throw that in there and play the game, and it's a fun little card game. It is simply trying to basically make sets of different cards in your hand that are worth certain points, and at some point you can call that it's going to be the end of the round, or you can call like last call, which everybody else gets another go, and they're trying to beat how many points you've done. And the scoring system's really weird in this one. I would have this game really, really high for me. I still really enjoy it, but the scoring system is so weird in this game that every time we're playing it, it's very, very simple. But at the end of the round, we're like, okay, you people are going to score your card bonuses. You're only going to score your color bonus, but you're going to score this. So that it's a little bit weird. I wish it was a little bit I wish it was a little bit more clear, or maybe just not so fiddly for the scoring at the end of the game, but it is different. It definitely is unique. But I like the actual gameplay itself is really, really fun for myself. So yeah, the last game is Sea Salt and Paper. And that is all the games that we're going to be talking about, all the 23 games that I played, besides the other games that I already reviewed this month. So go check out those if you want to go check out those. I tried to do those really, really quickly. And yeah, that will complete this video. So make sure to comment down below some of your thoughts. What games did you play in April? I hope you guys have an amazing day. Take care.